So, a really important part to research is thinking of your essential question, but also thinking of the sub questions that circulate in and around and under your essential question. Essentially, your essential question is the umbrella, it's the entire thing. But the sub questions are each little slice of the umbrella, the steps that you have to cover in order to have a good research paper. So, odds are, when you started research, you had lots of questions in your head. For instance, maybe your essential question was, what role does education play in reducing juvenile delinquency? And maybe you said, well, I better first know, well, what kind of juvenile delinquency am I talking about? And, well, what ages? And then, well, what kind of educational background did they have? And then you can go through this and you'll see question after question that relates. Each of these questions is a sub question. It's a question that rotates around your essential question. So now that you are researching more and maybe adding more questions, maybe finding some really good sources, you might want to refocus your questions a bit. Maybe you will narrow down. For instance, if I am looking at my question about education and juvenile delinquency, I might have to do this box no matter what as background information, but maybe I would have my paper only concentrate here, or maybe I'd have my paper concentrate here. In other words, that as you start researching, some of your sub questions become bigger, bolder, they have a lot of information, and you know you won't get to all of your questions. That's okay. That's perfectly acceptable. You might find too that you get questions off of questions, sub questions to your sub questions. That too is perfectly fine. You want to keep a list of your questions or keep making your questions visible so that you don't lose them, so you know how to look at them and manipulate them. Why do you want to make those questions visible? Well, first, it helps you organize, makes you feel calm, centers you. But also, right now, you want to look at those sub questions to see, well, what information's missing? What do you have no sources around? Then you have to go find those sources. So, sub questions help you define and qualify. Maybe they help you examine the problem solution or the cause and effect. If you look at text structures, you'll find even more sub questions. So, there are attributes to sub questions. They're open. They typically incorporate concepts you've already learned. Maybe they have the vocabulary that you've been reading about and experimenting about. They break your research into manageable parts and, well, they make you feel a bit more in control. Your research is less daunting. If you're looking for some more models, there are a couple. Here's a model, and the next slide will also have another model. Now, you can do this. Some questions will help you. Keep them coming. We'll see you later.